Hey guys, my name is Alicia Norman. I am a writer. I was a content writer for years and worked remotely before people even knew working remotely was a thing. This is pre-COVID. I have a decade's worth of experience, and I wanted to share a little bit of what I did to create a living income as a content writer before anyone was working remotely. At the time when I was working from home, I was a mother of two children. I wanted to be here for the kids. I wanted to watch them get off the bus. I wanted to, but I didn't want it to be a thing where I was working off away from the home. So this was one thing I was able to do, and I made really good money in it. When I say really good money, I was able to, buy furniture. When I say furniture, I was able to get like nice wood food, products. Like I still have this chest I bought during the heyday of my content creation days, and I still have it's like a little chest, and I liked it because it was real wood, and these types of things. I'm not a person who likes a lot of flashy stuff, so I didn't buy like I don't buy cars and furs and expensive jewelry. I like to get things like antiques and wood products and things. And I was able to buy things like that for years. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what I did in that process for people who may be wondering how you can do it today. Because the landscape has changed and trying to get jobs that paid the way they did when I first started doing this. When I first started doing this, only 17% of people were working remotely worldwide. That's changed. But I'm just saying, like at the time, wasn't a lot of people that was doing what I was doing. So I was pretty much in demand. Now it's a little harder, but there's still ways to do it. And there's still old-fashioned, what I consider old-fashioned ways to do it. I'm going to share with you guys some emails and different things that it enlighten you a bit about it. Actually, there was some things that I was going to go over. I'm going to pull up my Google Doc here. So give me a second to do that. Because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of misconceptions about content creation and writing and stuff. Or if you're a writer, one of my favorite stories to tell was about how I went to San Bernardino. There was a director there because I write screenplays too. That's my passion, writing. But when you want to write as a career, it's got to be more than passion. You got to be able to work on the kind of things that you normally wouldn't want to work on. Okay. So I went to San Bernardino to meet a director, and like I live in the South, and in the South, when you say you're a writer, they think you're just like, sitting at home in your PJs, doing nothing all day and claiming to be a writer. And that's probably true of some, but not all. Cheers. Anyway, the so what ended up happening in this scenario was it was just a weird, like, because I have TV writers there, when you say writer, they take you seriously. And it was just like something I had never experienced. I never experienced before. Because when the lady, there's an older lady there, very pretty. All the women in California are just amazingly beautiful. And she was an older lady. She's like 60. You could still bounce a quarter off her abs. I don't know how she managed to do that. But anyway, so she came to me and she kind of had a New Yorkie accent. She was like, "So, what do you do?" And I was like, "I'm a writer." And she's like, "Oh, you're a writer." And she grabbed my arm and she took me around. She's like, "She's a writer." And I was like, "She's a writer." And I was like, "Oh my God, I never experienced that." But it felt good because I've been working very hard for a number of years as a writer and I had a career as a writer. To be taken seriously was actually pretty cool. But I say that to say that if you're gonna be a writer, you have to take it seriously as a career. You can't eat Cheetos in your on a sofa and expect to be a writer who makes any real decent money. You got to treat it as a craft. And that's one of the things that I wanted to go over today on my thing. The one thing that I've noticed from fellow writers who asked me, they would say, "Well, how did you do that? What did you do?" And I would try to tell them, I would say, "Well, you get up at, 9 a.m. You hold on, let me pull this up. You get up at 9 a.m. in the morning. You treat it like a job. You go to the job boards. Um, you talk to people who you network. You go to places where writers congregate, producers congregate, people who need writers congregate. You hand your card out. You work it like a job. Um, so the one thing I would say often is treat it like a job, not a hobby. Right? If it is a hobby for you, it's fine. And that's another thing that kind of aggravates me that people go, I do it as a hobby. Well, good for you that you do it as a hobby. I treat it as a career. Some people swim just to have fun. Some people are Olympic swimmers. Just because you treat it as a hobby doesn't mean everyone's going to treat it as a hobby. And if you, I remember one other person saying, why should you get paid for, being a writer? Okay. So if somebody decides to, I don't know, take my writing to put it out there and it sells millions, the publisher should get paid, but I shouldn't. And the publishers get paid because they're paying for the product. They're paying to print it. They're paying to get it done and put into books and put into places and put into distribution. Those books don't end up magically on a shelf. And if you print millions of them, it costs lots of money. So in that perfect person's world, this idiot who said that somebody like me shouldn't make money on my craft, in their perfect world, uh, the distributor gets money, the publisher gets money, but the person who actually created the thing shouldn't make money. And in a situation where I did a lot of marketing and SEO writing, and that's where the bulk of my money came from. Um, I'm writing about lawn chairs. I'm writing manuals. I'm writing even SEO landing pages. This isn't fun writing. So because it's writing, though, I should get paid. I'm taking hours of my valuable time to do these things, to give a service. And, not to throw the Bible out there, but the Bible itself said a workman is worthy of its hire. What that means is anyone who does any type of thing for another person and it is work deserves the money that they make. And it wasn't like I was making millions of dollars out here, but I made enough to buy the things that I needed and the things that I wanted, like, wood furniture and things like that. So let me go a little bit into it because I actually want to create I actually want to create an ebook that goes into greater depth about what I'm going to talk about here today. So one of the things that you want to do, like that one of my go-to places still around. There used to be a newsletter called Morning Coffee, and it listed all the jobs from different job boards across the internet. It was a great one-stop place to get your stuff. It's no longer around. But one of the places that is still around, and this has been around since I've been a writer for over a decade, is a place called ProBlogger. I am going to share my screen. Hold on. Do, 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 do. Share my screen. Ooh. My kids running around. Forgive any noise. Share. Pro blogger. There we go. So, the Pro Blogger was one of the best ones. And I'm going to caveat this to say these aren't long-term jobs, and some of these aren't the best paying jobs. But if you're someone trying to get into writing, like this is an entry-level thing, this is the best place to start building your portfolio. Your writing portfolio is the most important thing that you can cultivate and start if you're trying to make money at home. And I'm going to show you some of the jobs that you might see here. What is this? Writer, editors, creative lifestyle listicles. They say you can use AI. Yeah, I would say this. I use AI now for correcting grammar and making it quicker process of editing. But I guess because I'm an organic writer, I still write my stuff. And I just think that because AI is not a good writer, it's just not yet. It can help you tighten, but it's just not a good writer. I'm sorry. And so I don't think people should be saying people can use AI to write. But anyway. We're a lifestyle media company seeking writer editors who use AI to help us create listicles across several brands covering various topics like family dynamics, retirement, love, parenting, etc. Because you can use AI, content creation is fast and easy. It's still, oh God, I hate this stuff. When people think it's not fast and easy, okay? Because they're still gonna want it to be quality. They're not gonna want it to sound crap. They're not gonna want it to be robotic. So that means you're still going to have to do some actual base writing. That means you're still going to have to do some base editing. It's still going to take time. So no, that's not, no, no, no. So we pay $12 a listicle. Our contractors typically make 5 to 8 per hour. While we want all contractors to do at least 8 a day, you can do more. And see, again, what they're trying to fool you people into doing, and this is why this would not be a job I would do as someone who has experience. But if you're someone who wants experience, it might be a good job to do. I just would say if you do it, don't take shortcuts and try your best to try to do your base writing. So $5 an hour. Skills require experience with lifestyle content, editorial judgment, experience working on WordPress. English must be your native language. And here's another thing. They want $12 a listicle and they want all this experience. You know what my base pay is for this kind of experience? $30 an hour, and that's base pay. Okay. So they're trying to get away with murder by claiming that because you can use AI, it's going to be easier. Newsflash, AI doesn't make it easier. If you actually use AI, what it does is a companion, is a tool, but it does not write the piece for you. Sorry. But anyway, so I would go back on and that say, don't even do this for as you're trying to start out. They're just trying to use you. But let's see. Scriptwriter for crime. YouTube channel term. This might be cool. Um, so yeah, we're hiring a long form script writer. And I'm a screenplay writer. So that'd be interesting. I like crime drama, whatever. This is stable ongoing role with consistent work for writers. You can hit deadlines and match our style. And that's another thing. Why it's good not to just use AI. You want to be someone who understands style and voice. That helps you with the creation of natural sounding flow, dialogue, whatever your particular job may be. And you want to be able to do that from a human perspective. So anyway, something called Peter Went into the Woods. All you need is excellent English writing skills, attention to detail, no use of AI when writing. So I like that. And I don't have a problem with AI. I use AI. I'm an animator. I use AI. I'm a 3D animator. And that goes into something else I want to talk about, which is diversifying your writing, but that's neither here nor there. And I may not go into it into this video. But yeah, you will receive a new script once the current one is approved. So output speed is all up to you. So this one's saying it's like now this one's a good one, and because these particular jobs tend to pay very well, right? So ProBlogger was one of the places. Now, what's interesting to me is I usually you see a long list of jobs and there's not a lot here. So that goes back to what I was saying about how a lot of these places don't even exist anymore. But I'm going to tell you a mainstream job board that you can use to get jobs and get good paying jobs and even get full-time salary jobs. I had a full-time salary job for like 6 months. I did enjoy some aspects of it, but I will be honest and say I'm not a person who is a team player. And when I say not a team player, I'm the kind of person that speaks up. I'm the kind of person that when I see something wrong, I say something. So I don't do the corporate politics. I'm not the kind of person that does that. So I went into this job all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people. But when I would say, hey, what if we did this? Or hey, here's a better way to do something. Or hey, I don't think this person's suited to do this because they didn't do this. And hey, oh, don't do that. No, I had been working for myself for so long, I had forgotten the politics of office. That's why my ass is only there 6 months. But yeah, so it was a blessing in disguise because I actually do enjoy making my own rules and working for myself. And I did it for so long, I think it's very difficult for me to work in an environment that's as structured as a corporate environment would be. But anyway, um, let's go and let's check out some of the mainstream places you can go to get jobs. There are some places that will say you have to pay for lists and stuff, and you might want to because some of those are legit. And like Flex Jobs, for example, is a good place to go to find jobs that are legit writing jobs. But you have to pay for to be on Flex Jobs. You have to pay like a subscription or whatever. And it's worth it. And I will say this because even if you get an entry level job, again, it's like a pro blogger. You get to put your name, you get a byline sometimes in some of these situations, and you'll have the ability to say, hey, I did this. Here's where you can go to see my writing. Like I did writing for Cozy Meal. I still have links to Cozy Meal that have my name and my picture to it. When you have that kind of thing, when you have that kind of byline, it helps you get more work. It shows that you have a history, that you're not just somebody hoping to make a quick buck and move on. So let's go to, I'm going to try to find the I'm going to close this pro blogger. Let's go to Indeed. Indeed is one of them. So, and Indeed is a big job board. Sometimes Monster, but I have found that Indeed is the one that has the most content writing jobs, and we'll go through a few of those, right? Hold on. Share. Indeed. All right. So with Indeed, I've got this pulled up, the content writing remote, but you could do SEO writing. Let's do content writing, then we'll do SEO, right? So you easily apply part-time. Motion detected at Michael's front door. Part-time copywriter, up to 20 hours a week, 15 to 20 an hour. Wellness, nutrition, content expert, AI review, part-time, 30 to 40 an hour. Freelance writer, grow by three, $150 to $500 a day. Now, I'm going to be real with you and say that some of these jobs that pay more, they're going to want people with experience. Okay. But if you've got a job that pays around 15, 20 an hour, sometimes these, like this is a skills, do I have research, whatever. Yes, I would have the skills for this. But and you see a lot of these are like, yeah, you can use Claude. A lot of places are incorporating AT AI into the pipeline. But you're going to also see that you're going to have experience in writing. You're not going to just be somebody who can fall out of bed and use AI to write an article. You're going to have understand the rules of grammar, the rules of syntax. You're going to understand how language flows, because AI can't do everything. Okay. So this the role position for 20 hours a week. Oh, composition based on experience. And again, so let's look up SEO writing. I did SEO. SEO was where I made a good portion of it, because it's also marketing. It's not just writing, it's marketing. So you make more money in marketing. I'll just say that much. So SEO writing, SEO keyword specialist, SEO analyst part-time, compound growth marketing, see $50 an hour, 5 to 10 hours a week. Sometimes you get $70 to $150,000 a year. These jobs paid very well. And this is where I was buying my stuff, you know, this is where I was buying my stuff, because this is the kind of work I was doing. But again, even if you're working remotely. Sometimes they'll have you come in. I never had to. I only went for remote jobs and contract jobs. And that's why I never had a what I consider corporate job. To be honest, finding a corporate writing job that pays a salary, that pays the benefits, like the one I was speaking of, that kind of job, that job is hard to find, okay? And that doesn't mean you can't make decent money outside of corporate, and you can. But it's contract, so it ends when it ends. And that's going to bring me to another thing I wanted to share here. Hold on. I worked for a lady named Kim McGill for about 7 years, off and on. She was contract, and it paid the kind of money that I could get an upfront advance before I started working. And the nature of the jobs, let me see. Now, I would do press, and what I did with her was SEO, so it was marketing, but I also wrote landing pages for websites. I wrote um, a PR, press releases, those types of things. And so because I did a huge body of work, um, I was able to work consistently. And so it would like I would do a 300 word press release plus additional 200, 300 content review. Like this additional destination, blah, blah, blah. This may or may not still be here. Ah, there it is. Okay. So yeah, so the kind of writing I did, landing pages, content writing, and this stuff gets updated. So some of the writing I may have done for this may not even still be here, right? But what I'm saying is this is where you can make the bulk of your money. And this goes back to another type of thing I would tell you would need to do as a writer if you want to write for a living. You got to do stuff that is not sexy. And when I say not sexy, writing insurance stuff, not sexy. Writing GBC, and I'll go back to another Kim McGill. GBC tax, tax was another company we worked with. Okay, GBC, um, so then we 2006. Can I find something somewhat recent? We need to keep da, da, da. So this was one of the things I wrote for a landing page. This was 2014. GBC Services, CFO Services of Atlanta is one of the top accounting and tax firm, blah, 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 right? I enjoyed my writing. Don't get me wrong, GBC, don't get mad at me. I enjoyed writing. But if somebody said, hey, Alicia, you want to write some stuff about taxes? That would not have been what I would have wanted to write about, right? Because I'm not a tax consultant. But what I had to do was research. And again, this is why AI can only help you so much. And because AI research is not dependable. Um, you have to be able to be a good researcher. You wear a lot of hats when you're trying to make money as a writer and make money consistently for years. You wear a lot of hats. I had to do research. I had to be a good researcher. And remember, this was before AI. So you got to know what you're doing. You got to have good instincts. You have to be a good researcher. You have to understand syntax. You have to understand motivation. You got to be almost a quasi psychologist up in this bitch to be able to make good money from home writing. And like I said, I worked for Kim McGill a number of years. And the reason why is I was good at what I did. I will say that all day long. I was very good at what I did. And I was consistent and I delivered on time every time. If you want to keep a career in this across all boards, you got to be indispensable. You got to be someone who's good at what you do. I was good enough that at one point I was working for three different companies. I was working for Kim. I was working for Lightstream Media, which is based in the UK, and I was working for a company called Articles and Beyond, which is based in Australia. And when I was pregnant with my son, and when I had to take some days off and I gave birth, and I told everybody, and I sent pictures, and every person I worked for sent money to me for my son. I had $500 for the birth of my son from the different places and I worked for because they saw me as a valued participant. I worked for these companies for years until some of them went defunct, and they did. The only person still doing stuff on occasion is Kim, but she has since retired. And there are people that worked with her that only want to work with her. So when they reach out to her, she reaches out to me. Be someone that people know they can depend upon to do things, and you will have a long-term career in this. And there's lots more I could talk about, but I actually want to do this in an ebook. I want to talk about my experiences. I want to talk about what I've learned. I want to talk about the kind of money I made. I want to talk about how that branched into even my creative screenplay writing, and how it led into me being able to do things like write pitch decks. I've done pitch decks for people in Hollywood. I'm writing one right now. This is a pitch deck I'm working on for a story I wrote called The Curator. And yeah, so you create a niche, you become invaluable, you treat this as a job and not a hobby. And that's just hitting the iceberg of what you need to be someone who makes money from home. And it's not an instantaneous thing. It's not like within the first 3 months you're gonna make, the kind of money that I was making. But if you keep at it and you find consistency, and you show people that you can be an invaluable player, you will make money. I will guarantee you will make money and you will make good money. You make the kind of money that you can make and quit your day job if you wanted to. And I will guarantee you that. But anyway, that's all I want to say for right now. I will probably do another video once I get done with the ebook to go over the details of some of the details and even more. I might go over the different ways that you can even teach yourself different styles of writing that may be in demand today. And also how to incorporate AI in an ethical way so that you are using your own work and that you're not actually going to be effectively stealing the work of other people. Things like Grammarly, they have, checkers to make sure that you are not stealing work. You could run and filter your work. There are all kinds of little hacks and stuff that I want to actually talk about in my ebook. And I hope that this was at least a little bit informative, and that maybe some of you might say, hey, I don't even need the ebook. I'll try some of this stuff and see if it works for me. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions. Thank you so much for taking time to look at my video. Bless, and I hope that the day finds you terrific. And I'm gonna drink my coffee and go tell my kids to kind of pipe down, and my cats too. Cats are really things. Anyway, love. Bye now. What am I doing? How do you?